being founded on God consciousness. Ernest Holmes went on to say that if you would believe this, and so I'd like you to find your little piece of paper, the side that says God is all there is. So here is an affirmation that we can work with this coming week and as often as we would like to, as a point of reference, a frame of mind for being able to build our structure on this foundation. Read this together with me, together. God is all there is. God is right where I am. Divine intelligence is now directing me. I not only invite it, I believe it is here. There is nothing in me that can deny me the privilege of receiving this divine guidance. There is something in me that knows what to do under every circumstance, knows how to meet every situation, knows how to come every obstacle. I am in partnership with the infinite mind that creates everything and sustains everything. I am one with God. Now turn to one person and say, and you are too. So if we're thinking about, if we're working with our awareness and we want to have our awareness centered in one thing, we need to monitor what? The contents of our awareness or our thoughts. It's that simple, really. But is it that easy? Do you have any idea how many thoughts the average person has per day? 60,000. The average person has over 60,000 thoughts a day. The average person has over 2,500 thoughts per hour. That's spinning out at a fast rate. And the average person has over 42 thoughts per minute. Take a deep breath. That is a lot of thoughts. Philippians 4:8 says, think on things that are pure and honest and of good report. Because as a man thinketh in his heart, this comes from Proverbs, as one thinks in their heart in your innermost being, so is he. We become what we think, and therefore having our awareness centered in the truth of who we are versus around everything that's huffing and puffing and trying to blow us off of our center, so to speak, it's really, really important. But more important than the quantity of thoughts we have every day are the quality of thoughts that we have. One writer said, life happens one thought at a time, either by habit or default. Now, if we have over 60,000 thoughts a day, how many are just on autopilot going unchecked? God only knows what we're thinking. Most of them, quite frankly. Habits of mind are powerful constructs. Our beliefs are the blueprints of who we are. However, most of the time, thoughts just come and go. Just as we're unaware of the breath entering in and out, so we are unaware of the thoughts entering in and out of our mind. Earl Nightingale said, the strangest secret is that we become what we think about most of the time. And Charles Fillmore, co-founder of Unity, said, every idea is a seed and will bring forth according to its character. So remember the house, the characteristics of a foundation in a house. If the foundation is not strong, it can sink to the ground, crack under pressure, or get blown away. So if our thoughts and our awareness is not really anchored in something that is bigger than just our mind, we may start feeling like we are sinking to the ground, cracking under pressure, or being blown away. So I'd like to introduce to you a little jingle that I hope gets stuck in your head. So turn your paper over, and Marilyn, will you get... This is a little song that if you've been around my house, I've been singing this song all week this week. And that's the goal, that you get it in your head. So we're going to talk about a few things now in a minute to help us anchor our awareness in the truth of who we are. I am the thinker who thinks the thought. I can change my thinking, I can change my thought. I am the thinker who thinks the thought. I can change my thinking. I can hold a higher thought. Okay, so can you remember that? Sinking thoughts are those low thoughts that feel like they're completely and totally not connected to God. Have you had any of those? When we get focused on everything that's wrong or whatever. Eckhart Tolle, who wrote the book The Power of Now and some other books, remember 3 years ago, Eckhart and Oprah did this worldwide live cast on what I'm about to tell you, and it changed a lot of people's lives. Eckhart Tolle, when he was 29 years old, had been a man who had suffered with depression, and all of his life was filled with gloom and doom and darkness. His thoughts were low, sinking thoughts. Life didn't work. Everybody hates me. Life is against me. And at 29 years old, in his bedroom one night, he was so full of those kind of thoughts that he could not stand it anymore. And he had been having a reoccurring, very low thought that said, I cannot live with myself anymore. I cannot live with myself anymore. And that night in his bedroom, he was on the verge of suicide. And that thought came into his mind again, I cannot live with myself anymore. But in that instant, it's as if a flashlight opened in his head and said, I am the thinker who thinks the thought. I can change my thinking. I can change my thought. And he had this thought that said, wait a minute. Who is this I that cannot live with myself? And in that moment, something in him shifted, and he realized there's a higher level of awareness in me that these are just thoughts I'm having, but I am connected to a presence and a power, and there's something that is thinking through me. And if I could connect with that something, what would my life look like? And he fell asleep, almost sort of passed out, and when he woke up the next morning, he was a bliss ninny for the next 2 years. He walked around and sat on park benches truthfully, and has become completely enlightened. Now, I don't suggest that that happened to you. If that's your path, that may happen. But I want us to sing that song one more time to get that in your mind, because he sang, I am the thinker who thinks the thought. I can change my thinking. I can change my thoughts. I am the thinker who thinks the thought. I can change my thinking. I can hold a higher thought.